Benevi. But before Ms. Jacqueline takes the stage, we have prepared our inspiring video highlighting her career and achievements. Let's take a look.
In a world where leadership and human resource management are key to business success, she has proven to be an outstanding figure. In addition to being Vice President of Human Resources and Corporate Operations at CME International key to business success, she has proven to be an outstanding figure. In addition to being Vice President of Human Resources and Corporate Operations at CME International Ltd, Jacqueline also is CEO and Principal Consultant of Human Resources Solutions Group Ltd, founded in 2013. Let's listen to her talk about AI transforming professional development. Considering how AI is used for professional development, agent of change, business leader, please welcome someone with over 31 years of executive experience. Jacqueline has led major organizations across various sectors and holds advanced degrees with top honors. GCE's Summit Impact 2024 presents Jacqueline Ferguson Benevi.
Great pleasure for me to be able to be in the presence of such awesome professionals such as you today during this GCE Summit. I also thank the organizers of this particular summit that they are able to bring to us the information that we would have shared yesterday and would have learned. And I'm sure today's summit is going to be quite informative. So I want to move ahead with our session roadmap for today. So we're going to just look at a few things about understanding AI, the technology behind AI, why incorporate AI into personal development, and how we can learn from AI technology. I want to make it clear, AI, as was mentioned yesterday by the presenter, it's not the future, it is the present. So being a CEO of my own company, I want to say that it is not easy to be able to run your own organization. How many of you get anxiety when you see your email inbox because there are so much emails in it? Right, by show of hands, if you get anxiety when you see your email, that's me. How many of you get anxiety when you see your WhatsApp messages popping up on your business phones? That will be me. So learning how to work smart is of paramount importance to professionals. And incorporating artificial intelligence is a major way for you to be able to learn and to work smart rather than working hard. We all want to see our businesses succeed, and in order for that success to happen, we have to learn how to work smart rather than hard. How many of you have read the book, Great CEOs Are Lazy? Have you ever heard of that book? No? Get a copy, download it off of Amazon. Great CEOs Are Lazy. It's an interesting book. The context and the construct of that particular book states that CEOs should surround themselves with individuals who have the knowledge so that they can focus on strategic learning, so that they can give directives to individuals, and that will make them more successful as a CEO. However, what if you are a CEO or you are a professional who the human resources is not readily available to you? What do you do? So in the Bahamas, the human resources element is one that is limited. So with human resources in the Bahamas, we have to import a lot of our workers. So when you are a CEO that has limited resources and you cannot find people who have the skill and the knowledge to be able to bring that into your company immediately, you have to reinvent yourself, correct? So that's what I had to do. I had to reinvent myself. So I had to, during COVID-19, we all remember COVID-19, right? We all remember COVID. Show of hands if COVID impacted you negatively. Okay, if COVID impacted you positively, show of hands. Great. So during my business, during COVID-19, I had to immediately pivot from a brick and mortar building to doing what? Everything became what? Online, right? So if you weren't the kind of business owner who knew how to pivot from one to the next, COVID would have finished your business. That would have concluded your business. So I moved from a brick and mortar building to an online presence. Now, the problem with moving from a brick and mortar to an online presence, when you, where is it? Here? No, it's not changing. Okay, now it went. Okay, got it, thank you. So the issue with moving from a brick and mortar to an online presence is I trained my staff directly. What that means is I learned every aspect of my business. I mentioned this yesterday. I learned finance to be able to invest my money. I learned accounting to be able to read my balance sheet, my financial statements. My business is steeped in human resources, so I had to also learn marketing to market my business. And so when I hired individuals that I can train with potential so that I don't have to pay the high salaries, okay? If that is your business model, how many of you have companies where you pay moderate and you train versus paying high and bringing in the people with the experience? Like, what's your business model? Do you pay high salaries for the people with the expertise, or do you pay moderate salaries and train? You pay hybrid? So a little bit of both? Yeah? What about you? A little bit of both. Okay. So in my company, if you're familiar with the cost of living in the Bahamas, salaries are high. Salaries are high. So in order to get people at the right level, you have to pay them high wages. So you have to pay $100,000 and some in the Bahamas if you want a good accountant. Or if you want an attorney, that's another $100,000 and some. So for a small business, my business model has been to hire people with potential and then have them learn how to do what I need them to do for the betterment of my business. Smart business model, right? Could be smart business model, but it's a hard business model because that means you are touching them on a daily basis. So during COVID, I couldn't see my employees. So I had to incorporate software with artificial technology built in, with ChatGPT, chatbots, and the like, so that they can learn on demand anytime, because everybody was relegated to their homes, right? So you couldn't come out. So that's what I had to do as a business owner. The interesting thing about that business model is that not only does it save you some money, but you now could have that money to reinvest in that technology. So with artificial technology, we have, okay, I think this thing doesn't like me. Okay, great. So with artificial technology, we have computer systems that is engineered with the data and the information to be able to give you what you need when you need it, okay? So they do tasks that were done by only human beings in the past. And there are many types of computer systems that utilizes this smart technology to help us to be able to work smarter rather than hard in the future, in the present. So it's going to account for approximately $13 trillion in value by 2030 in the US annually. That's how we are as far as artificial intelligence. So yesterday we would have went through a little bit about what AI is with the presenter. But just to give you a quick little definition, it takes complex situations, complex problems, and that only human beings could have done, and it now enables you to get that through computer technology. So such as speech recognition, making decisions, and identifying patterns. AI is an umbrella term that encompasses a wide variety of technology. And you use this technology daily. So the machine learning, the deep learning, I don't want you all to get too caught up in the tech, the the technical components of it, but I can tell you, you do use this daily. So with machine learning, it uses algorithms that helps you to categorize images, solve complex problems, and then be able to use those problems daily. So this was some of the things that I had to research during COVID to be able to find software that was relevant to my business, okay? Being able to find that software where, how many of you deal with Chatbox or ChatGPT? Like when you're in a software, you have a question, you just type it in, or you're talking to some chat bot at the end of your reservation for Expedia because something goes wrong with Expedia, so you type it in and you get the answer for it. Or they're able to assist you in the moment. So that's all machine learning encompasses. So it looks at categorizing images, data, predicting price fluctuation. So it helps you with investments. In addition to that, you look at companies like Amazon and Spotify and Netflix. So you want to know the technology behind when you click a movie on Netflix, and then Netflix suggests all kinds of movies after that. So you're just clicking one button. That's machine learning, okay? That's the technology behind machine learning. Same thing with Amazon. When you select one item, Amazon can give you millions more items similar to that to suggest so that they get you to buy. That's the technology behind machine learning. The technology behind deep learning is a little different. So this helps in categorizing large sums of data. And with the large sums of data, it's something called training data. So every time you ask a question, or every time you give the computer a problem, it refines the data. So it's similar to when you're studying. So when you study you constantly go over the same information over and over again, and that's where deep learning comes in. So deep learning is similar to when you're able to use these kinds of tools for voice-enabled technology and credit card fraud. So if you're using your cell phone and you're asking your cell phone, you're asking Siri a particular question, that's where deep learning comes in, okay? So it's as simple as if you are asking, like I always ask Siri all the questions that I don't do anything. I am one lazy person now because of AI technology, I want y'all to know. I lay in my bed and I arm my house, okay? Google, arm my house. I actually lay down, Siri, why is my dog depressed? See that? She knows. Siri knows. I ask her all of the questions. I also, even as simple as the cars nowadays, the safety features that they're adding to cars like Tesla, Mercedes, companies that Google is doing. Like, it's amazing. Like, you can be in your Mercedes and you can say, Mercedes, what's the traffic conditions between here and where you have to go? And Mercedes will tell you what the traffic conditions are. Tesla, self-driving cars themselves. You don't even have to drive the car. Okay? Tesla knows where to take you. And it's the technology that is behind whether or not that Tesla or that Mercedes hits an object. They know how to identify an object versus a person, and they press the brakes for you. Imagine that. Isn't that remarkable? So when you're driving these types of vehicles, you pay more for the vehicle, but the safety features are steeped in deep learning. My very favorite one, though, is natural language processing. So with natural language processing, whenever this decides to move along, with natural language processing, this is the more voice-enabled software. So what tends to happen with natural language processing is that you are using, it can interpret writing, scribble, it can take notes for you. You can dictate into it what you need to be dictated. So as opposed to writing things down, you now get to the point where you can just dictate it. It understands language. It understands scribble. It understands even if you would have written something on a piece of paper, it can decipher what that is saying or what that wants to say. So you use those in digital assistants and in smartphones. Email scanning is the one that I like. So you ever figured how something gets in your spam versus your trash versus your inbox? It's natural language processing. So once you would have done it once, you can the system automatically, the algorithms and the technology behind it automatically continues to put those things in your spam. So I would, now that you understand a little bit about the technology behind these things, this software, now it's time to put that into how that benefits you as an individual, right? So in short, for me, show of hands, when was the last time you read a novel? When was if you read a novel in the last month? The rest of the room is like me. It'll take me over a month to read a 100-page book. Why? Because I'm too busy. Because you're immersing yourself into too much other things. But that cannot stifle the growth of your business. That cannot stifle you. So how do you keep up, okay? For me, when it comes to reading a novel, it has nothing to do with the author. The author may have been an interesting author, the book is an interesting book, but at the end of the day, I simply don't have the time. As professionals, we have to learn how to keep up with the technology, and why are we going to keep up with the technology? So the speed in getting the information is of paramount importance. So I could be in my shower, and I could just be listening to a podcast of a law book, okay? You can condense law books into simple, all you have to do, as the presenter said yesterday, all you have to do is ask the right question. I will tell you this, with artificial technology, if you ask the wrong question, you will get the wrong answer, okay? Always fact check your artificial technology, okay? Always, if you ask the question, you can do so on your way to the gym. You can do so on your way to the boardroom. You can be learning in a constant state, because using artificial technology enables you to get learning on demand. And as professionals, that's where you need to go. It's not about sitting down and writing notes. It's about turning on the chat bot and have the chat bot take dictation for you. So that what you do is, when it's time for you to now transcribe, the information is there. When you have to learn something as simple as it's the difference between getting the right information, is the difference between you winning a case in court or not. The amount of groundbreaking cases and the amount of information that's inherent with accounting. I don't know about your countries, but my own, they come up with new things to do you in all the time in the financial world, okay? They change policies, as I mentioned yesterday. If they see too many coconut vendors on the road, they're not going to say, oh, these are people who are trying to make a living, let me leave them alone. No, they're going to come up with a policy or a law where those persons have to now pay a tax to be able to be out on the street to sell your coconut. So you have to keep up, and it can't come from just reading the newspapers. So we have to keep up with the trends. We have to know what aids the enforcement of what we want to learn, okay? If you're more visual, you have virtual reality learning. Okay, if it's customizable to meet your immediate needs, and you learn what you want, only what you want. So although I am a Gen X, I am a millennium in my mind, because I want things in a microwave fashion, okay? If I want information, I want that information now. How much of us in the room like that? I want my information now. I don't want to have to read 1,000 pages just to find out what I need to find out. I want to be able to go right to the source of what I need, pull that information out, and then let me develop that. So that's how I save time in my business. Otherwise, if I had to go to a university to learn every aspect of my business, I wouldn't have time to run a business. I would live in school So the fact that the technology that is out there is so great and it gives us so much of an opportunity to learn, we have to do what is best to enhance and embrace it. It provides personalized assessment tools, eliminating the needs for traditional evaluation methods. So everything is personalized to you, where they can even chat GPT-4. And this is for Sarah, but we ain't gonna really tell Sarah to use this. But Chat GPT-4 enables they write an exam for you, okay? So they can Chat GPT-4 can take a test for you. It's a college professor's worst nightmare. You have to be so careful when you're using the AI technology, because it can do so much things to help propel you and to shorten your time. It can write papers for you, essays. It could write a about you page for your website. So anyone looking to develop a new website for yourself, go to ChatGPT, it could develop it for you. It can write it for you. Predictive text like Google. You start to type something and Google predicts whatever you want to type, and then it tells you, this is what I think you want to type. That's how it is. The technology that is behind some of the software is so awe-inspiring that it can also minimize and eliminate the need for you to even if you're an accountant, just one press of a button can get you your financial statements. One press of a button. So it's important for professionals to incorporate some of this information into their everyday lives. AI serves as a virtual lecturer. So you're getting trained, it's available 24/7. Professionals can pause and resume training at their convenience and ask questions whenever they like. And the technology behind it, the AI chatbot, it helps you to get what you need to get in the moment, okay? So the training data is clear. So why incorporate AI in your personal development? One, because we need to stay competitive. Off the bat, we need to stay competitive. We don't have the time to do all of the reading, do all of the research. If you're a lawyer, it's the difference between being able to be properly prepared for a court case, being able to get the links to the different cases that will support your matter. It is that simple. So we have to stay relevant. We have to stay competitive in order to meet the needs of our clients. It makes learning easier through a variety of platforms. It tracks large amount of data. It's customizable to meet your needs. It's greater learning engagement. When you're looking at technology versus looking in a book, it makes it a lot easier when you're learning from the technology. You can use, how many of you have used the virtual reality headsets, the VR headsets? Great. So you can put any software, any program in those VR headsets, and it immerses you into that training environment. So it's not the conventional training environment, making it so much easier, and it keeps you even more so engaged than if you are in a traditional training environment. Why AI? Because we can easily integrate the learning into our daily routines. Because it's taking less time for you to learn, and less time, so it's less time for you to get the return on the investment. Everybody wants ROI quickly. The sooner, the better. I don't want to go to school for 4 years before I can demand a salary of only $30,000 more, okay? I want to learn what I want to learn now so that I can get an immediate return on the investments. And that's the same thing I implement with my staff. So I don't waste time with a lengthy orientation program. My orientation program consists of several links. Read the links, follow the video, and we're good to go. If you don't have that down pack within the first week, then you're not gonna work well in my environment, because my environment, I don't even spend money on paper. Can you believe that? I don't spend money on paper. Between jot forms, we familiar with jot forms? It's a software between jot forms that I create all my forms in. So if I am hiring as an EOR, I then send you forms in jot form for you to sign it. Any area I need you to fill in, I let you fill in. The second one I use is DocuSign. So all your contracts are in DocuSign. I have a HRIS software that's called Orange HRM, and everything pertaining to the employee is in there. It has links to the various videos to help you manage through your time. I can do time and attendance, and I haven't seen you in years. I can do performance reviews, and I haven't seen you in years. So all of this technology is there. So I don't print anything. So the money I save on paper, I can use on the technology, okay? So ultimately, applying HR to your training, learning, and development will allow learners to receive training content based on their preferences, skills, and personal traits. And it makes programs accessible to all learners, even with the different types of learning. So when we look at the software that is inherent, I know to some people I may be left field, right, with the amount of technology I incorporate into my business. But to me, I am even behind. There are some technology out there that I need to be getting more information on so that I can incorporate more of it. If anyone have a technology as to how to bring your employees to work and on time, I need to know that technology, because that's my issue right now. I need that technology, okay? Everybody wants to really work remotely, which I have no problems with, but sometimes you need to have a presence in the office now that COVID is over, right? So how can professionals stay current? Attend sessions such as these, of course. These sessions are very informative for people to share ideas, get together. Troy and I were talking yesterday, and he was telling me about some improvements in OECD, and I had to go to Google, and I had to find out from Google what's going on with the Bahamas and the OECD. So that's how we stay relevant. Follow AI leaders. Listen, preparing for this summit was awe-inspiring because the amount of information that's out there on artificial intelligence is astounding, okay? We have scientists who are doing nothing more but working to see how neural networks that they can embed in computers allow you to work as if you were a human being. So some computers are replacing, I mean eliminating some jobs. Amazing, right? Like I can invest $30,000 one-time fee with a maintenance fee and a computer that can do what I needed to do in my office, and I could eliminate a staff. So the technology is out there. Companies like Google, Apple, Tesla, listen, I spend so much time trying to learn the technology behind my iPhone 12, right? And before I even learned that technology, the iPhone 16 came out. So I was behind again. So keeping up is very important for professionals. You have to keep up. So take online AI courses. There are a lot of them. Coursera has tons of courses. Google, tons of courses on artificial intelligence. It even tells you how to build a machine yourself, how to select the data sets to be able to get the answers you are looking for. It's very detailed if you're a tech guru. Read AI research papers, experiment and be innovative in your daily workflows, network with other experts, stay open. Now, this is the thing. Some of us as business professionals we don't have an open mind, but AI is here. AI is here. So don't be afraid to experiment on the technology. Don't be afraid to embed it and download the software to help you to do better and to learn. And simply put, it's about being open to change. So as a part of my session wrap-up, from robots to predictive text application, all AI is not viewed as only a technological marvel, but rather a powerful force of positive transformation. Maximizing AI lies in the ability to gather data, optimize processes, and ignite innovation, propelling it to become an indispensable cornerstone. Indispensable. So you will not be able to get around AI. AI is going to be everywhere. The use of AI technology can not only bring about innovation in your business, but enhance your decision making. It can give you the information you need now to be able to make that decision right now. And so as professionals, we should leverage emerging technology to drive transformative change and make a significant impact in your field. What kind of professional will you be today? Will you be that professional who remains immersed in the libraries of law books? Or will you be that professional who says, hey, Siri, So, if AI technology... See that? Siri. Oh, I love her. If that doesn't work for you, coming soon, near you, OpenAI Neo is coming soon, and the one at the bottom is a mecha. So a mecha is an actual computer that will have human formation, human mindset. You will be able to talk. Do you talk to Siri and play a game with Siri? Has anyone played games with Siri? Okay, so I ain't alone in this room. You can play games with Siri. You can play with Google Music Match. You can ask Siri, hey Siri, tell me a joke. You can engage with artificial technology in a way that it's like human engagement. And the more you put into it, the more smarter it becomes to be able to help you define and refine your skills and what you are doing in your everyday life. So with that, I thank you all for your attention during this AI presentation. I hope I didn't bore you all too much with the technology behind AI, but I am fascinated by it, as you can hear. So thank you all so much. Are there any questions?
Questions? Any questions? Mm-hmm. Hold on.
I guess the only question I have is about cybersecurity. I mean, having been involved in IT, et cetera, you know, one of the things that's always an issue, and my current IT director, is concerned about those artificial intelligent bots basically take all of your data, even your personal data, and, you know, analyze it, data mine it, and potentially make it available to others. So your competitors can say, you know, I mean, maybe I could literally go, depending on what I pay these bots, and I don't know the name of your business, but, you know, how successful is Jackie Bahamas Limited in achieving, you know, 10% growth last year? Like, depending on what you do and how you pay and all of that information is totally accessible to competitors. What do you think about it? I mean,
okay. So have you ever seen on the internet, if you do, as a lawyer, if you search tort law, or if you search independent contractor agreements, right? You see other companies' agreements. Have you all done that? Have you all seen that? So that's how AI learns, right? So cyber attacks are real, okay? But you have to use software like Sophos, VPN, SharePoint. How many of you are familiar with SharePoint? Any of you familiar with SharePoint? No? Right. You have to use security software for data exchange. If you don't use security software for data exchange, that's going to happen. So any document, you know, I'm sure you all have heard, anything you email or anything that you put on the web is public domain, right? So everybody can have access to it. That's how technology is working. That's how the technology in deep learning gets smarter. That's the data you're putting into it. okay? And that's how it's able to shoot out. If you go to Google now and you type in independent contractor agreement, employee-employer, or independent contractor agreement, it will give you samples of other companies' independent contractor agreements. That is because they did not foster or follow some of the security components with their documents, or they could have posted it there for the fact that you can come to their business for it, because attorneys do it all the time online. Okay, so you can come to them for them to critique that, that contract once you would have downloaded that template off of the web. But you have to utilize the technology behind that helps you, because banks nowadays are trying to reinforce safety mechanisms for fraud detection, okay? So people are constant, that's how technology is working. It's like the second you bring out something and you think that thing is indispensable, like the Titanic, unsinkable, it sank. So whenever you send out something there and you think the technology is something that no one can hack, hackers hack it. Right? That's how they make their money, by hacking your unhackable technology, so that then the banks do what? Increase the security. So that's how it works. So it's not going to go anywhere. You can't outwit technology, okay? Because there are people out there that's doing nothing more but trying to come up with ways to crack and hack what you're putting out there. That's a job. Any other questions?
More questions? Well, please give it a word.
Thank you.
Applause. Jacqueline Benedict.
Thank you, Ms. Jacqueline. Sorry. Thank you, Ms. Jacqueline, for such a presentation. It was amazing. What a fantastic way to start the day, Pamela.
That's true. So now we have another excellent speaker, Licenciado Francisco Majano. Before Licenciado Majano takes the stage, we will be playing a video that highlights his contribution and career. Please enjoy.
Licensed attorney with 6 years of real experience, focused, disciplined, and committed to excellence. His mission, to provide clear solutions, and his virtue, effectiveness. An expert in mercantile, civil, labor, and administrative fields. His experience goes beyond theory. He has been on the front lines, advising and being creative in solving problems within the corporate. For him, law is not just a profession, it's the tool to open paths. His passion, helping others achieve their goals. Presenting to you, Francisco Majano, speaker at the GCE Summit, Impact 2024.
In a world where laws are still catching up with technology, my mission as a lawyer is to be the secure bridge that connects the innovation of crypto assets with justice and transparency, because discipline and integrity are non-negotiable in the new digital economy.
See the money almost day, feed me you, getting all the peace of pie for your wife. Everybody wanna know how it feels. Everybody wanna see what it's like. I'm leaving in the beat path. I don't mind. Me and this is the one that's the making money. Alright.
Hello, everyone. Do you hear me? Yeah? Okay. So, well, today we're going to talk about the crypto assets, digital assets, and its vulnerability due to as a tool of money laundering nowadays. This is a topic very new. El Salvador has issued its famous Bitcoin law, as well as other laws due to the they want to get the investments on these cryptocurrency fields. So we're going to talk about how is the regulation here in El Salvador and about some of the international regulations about this, and how we can also invest and interact with this market, but at the same time, protect ourselves and our clients from illicit activities or being means to money laundering. So, the digital assets emerged more than 15 years ago, exactly in 2009, when the first digital asset was created, I mean, Bitcoin. Please raise your hand if you owned or held some kind of digital asset as Bitcoin or other kind of cryptocurrency. Okay, good. So, this highly new innovative market is something we should learn to interact with. Those are new technologies and new markets and new investment opportunities that we have to learn to update ourselves and to don't lose opportunities as ourselves of our investments and with our clients. With the arrival of the President Bukele here in El Salvador, he quickly took an innovative approach that quickly positioned the El Salvador on the view of the international community. This step marked a major shift, bringing opportunities for investors and also for national people. The Bitcoin was adopted first to try to include people on the financial system, this new financial system that relays on the crypto assets market. So here's the control. So first, talking about this, I want to mention some aspects that about the digital assets and how this the legal treatment here in El Salvador. Since Bitcoin was adopted as a legal tender, it has the same legal treatment as the dollar here in El Salvador. It means legal tender, you can buy anything in Bitcoin, but you're not using like a good in exchange of another good. You're using money. The Bitcoin is as the dollar. But if you use another kind of digital assets, for example, BNB or Ethereum or other kind of cryptocurrency, then you're not interacting with money anymore. You're interacting with goods. So the other kind of cryptocurrencies that are not Bitcoin here is treated as goods and exchange of goods. So the money laundering through digital assets has become increasingly sophisticated to the different techniques and the characteristics that has the blockchain technology that helps with the anonymity, the speed of the transactions, and the cross-border capabilities of these kind of transactions that helps like criminals to do the money laundering and then to invest this money to the legitimate market. Such as characteristics as the anonymity, the speed, the transnational reach, and we're talking about transactions that can be made in millions of dollars within minutes or even seconds in this blockchain technology and with total anonymity. It creates a very dangerous field that has prevented for example, countries like China to practically ban the use of this kind of cryptocurrencies and technologies in their countries. But what we're doing here in El Salvador, what the measures that we've taken is to incentive their use and at the same time issue regulations to prevent this kind of transactions, of operations through adopting the anti-AML systems, and we also create more complex systems to know your client and know the origin of the funds. So if we follow the regulations, we can mitigate at some point the risks that represent the money laundering through these digital assets. Some common technique is the layering, and that it was created, all these techniques were created on the traditional financial system, but with the blockchain technology, it got even more sophisticated. For example, the fragmentation of funds to divide the funds through different crypto assets. I mean, Ethereum, BNB, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and transfer these funds to different wallets, and then going to another address and another digital assets. Those kind of transactions that are very complex makes it easier for criminals to erase the origin of the money and the identity of those participating on these transactions. Also, there's subjects now called mixers and tumblers that mix multiple funds from various users, and then they give back the assets to the same people, but not at the same address that they had. So they erase the traceability that these kinds of transactions could have. And also that everyone can even create their own blockchain and use it only for those purposes. So all these characteristics makes a lot harder to trace these transactions, to prevent the money laundering. The criminal activities with time gets even more and more sophisticated. But what we can do is to learn from these techniques. We have to understand how it works so we can prevent them and try to seek for ways to prevent them and to stop these kind of operations or not participate in them since the beginning of them. What is the purpose of those techniques? Always is the money laundering, the erase of the origin, the erase of the identity of the participants, and it's to confuse, to disorient eventually, to introduce this money to the legal market. So talking about the regulatory framework here in El Salvador, with the adoption of Bitcoin law in 2021, the country first took a digital asset as a legal tender, and well, the government created, for example, a government wallet called Chivo Wallet, where everyone could create it with only his ID, have his Bitcoin and change it to dollar and to dollar back to Bitcoin again with without any fee, and it was total free for everyone. So the people can start using Bitcoin. And without the necessity to create a bank account or to have a credit record to use the financial system, because here in El Salvador we have kind of a problem. As said yesterday, we have around 60% of informal, well, 60% of the market, it's informal market. So as you can imagine, this percentage is very close to the percentage of people who are not included in the financial system, that doesn't even have a bank account, that doesn't have any record. So as effort to include all these people through technology, well, the Bitcoin law was issued to try to fight this problem. At the same time, in 2023, the regulatory framework incorporate laws such the issuance of digital assets with its regulations. Also, at the same time as we were incorporating in our legal framework all these new digital assets, cryptocurrencies, there were changes made to the AML law that we have here in El Salvador and other regulations as well. Also, we have here an instructive of the Financial Investigation Unit from the Attorney General Office. Thus, almost every company should follow nowadays, that all makes them to have a compliance officer or some employee that develops the compliance functions as well. So these changes to the laws were made to incorporate, for example, the Bitcoin service providers or the digital assets service providers. So they are regulated as well to adopt their AML systems, the KYC systems and forms, to develop their company politics. All of this to make sure that the country doesn't become a place to facilitate the money laundering through the digital assets or through the Bitcoin. So now we have digital assets service providers authorized. One of the biggest one is Binance, who is here operating and have a license for operates here. So that means that this wallet should follow all the AML systems and controls, so we can, for example, know or have a certain level of certainty that this wallet is legitimate and that is wallet's licensed and that can be used for transactions on the legal market, and it's safe from it because it follows all the regulations. There will be other digital asset service providers that are not licensed, so that means that are not secure, and they have more probabilities that can be used those online providers to be means to money laundering. So this is a parameter we follow here to know if it's licensed or not, to know if we can recommend our client to interact with this provider or not. So we should do a due diligence over every wallet or company that we start interacting with, if we're talking about not only regular business, but the incorporation on the digital or cryptocurrency market, to make sure that this company is following all the AML systems that are required in the country that in which operates, and to have a certain level of certainty that won't have a high level risk of be used to money laundering. Also, if we go to, well, the international field, The Financial Action Task Force has already issued, well, some years ago, actually, I think it was around 2012 or 2014, that it issued the recommendations for virtual assets service providers that we took from then actually to make our regulations here inside the El Salvador, and which emphasize these controls that should be followed by the service providers, and also we as clients or as legal or accounting service providers should follow as well. Because it's not only that the virtual asset service provider should follow these controls, but every control can be broken. So because the criminal activities get every time more and more sophisticated, so their purpose is always to give a legit appearance to the funds or to their business to use these markets. So we have to keep up with all the changes and the new techniques that these criminals do to make sure that we can adapt our controls to those kind of activities. So talking about that, we as lawyers, as accountants, we are regulated subjects as well by the FAFT, and here in El Salvador as well, lawyers, accountants, and auditors are regulated, and they have the obligation to have the AML controls as non-financial designated professions. So we have to look inside as well and to look for how we can improve our AML controls or KYC controls. Is not only at the beginning of the relationship with our client, but we have to do continuously monitoring work over them to make sure that they are not victims as well, because in many cases can happen that someone can be used as a tool for money laundering without even noticing. So that's why we should have a continuously control, not only at the beginning of the business relationship, but during the time that we work with this client, and inside as well, we as professionals should always try to check our controls and check our clients and check that everything is going under the normal parameters of their businesses or their transactions. So what we can do to try to keep it up with this, well, our due diligence should be done always at the beginning and at least every year on every client that we have, especially if we're interacting with cryptocurrency market. We shouldn't be afraid that our client is, for example, doing business in this market. We should embrace that, but we have to give the appropriate legal advice and keep the appropriate monitoring of it, so we prevent that in the future can be any damage to our client or ourselves for activities or behaviors that were not normal and that weren't investigated at the time, and that can escalate to other instances. Also, we should always check for the local and international standards of AML regulations to make sure that we can update our controls to the international and national standards. Now, El Salvador, what can we learn from El Salvador? Well, we can learn that it approach to these digital assets not from a perspective of fear, but a perspective to bring opportunities not only to investors, but to people to integrate to the financial system, and also from the perspective of investors that they can come to the country and invest in the digital asset market without any fear, knowing that we're following as well the AML regulation, international standards, and even adapting our national standards to the behaviors that we've seen in the practical life from these operations and transactions in the everyday life. So we should take from El Salvador the regulatory adoption, the collaboration from the private and the public institutions, the training. There's a lack of knowledge in this field due to it's new, due to we might be afraid of it, but we should have to try to educate ourselves, learn ourselves, and teach to our clients the benefits that this market can bring to them, and what regulations, what measures should they take before getting into this market, and so they can make decisions knowing all the risk and all the benefits they could have, and having a wide vision of what it means to take investments in these markets, but being sure that they following all the legal measures that should be taken so they can get into these markets, mitigating a lot of risks that they could get into without knowing the appropriate regulations. And also, well, incentivizing the innovation. El Salvador has taken this vision to try to incentivize innovation, and through these kind of laws and other kinds of laws that are trying to incentivize also the artificial intelligence as well, these kind of technologies that we should take to learn, to take from them, and to try to interact more with them to try to advance, progress as a country, as a companies, as a local companies, and to be competitive in the international field. So, in conclusion, the rise of these digital assets through time, this is not new. It began in 2009, and since then it's been evolving, and with the time the government and the companies has taken importance on this field, and are even more people is investing in this market. It's a market that is doing operations every day with millions and millions of dollars nowadays. So its importance nowadays is very high. We can ignore this market because it brings a lot of opportunities, and it can bring a lot of advantage for companies and for people. And instead of being afraid of this market, and due to its risks and its facility for money laundering, we should all try to learn from it and interact with following the measures that should be followed by AML regulations and systems. But we as a professional should support this interaction and meet the regulatory standards, so we can advise our clients how to approach to this market and embrace him to do it without any fear. Well, that's it. Thank you so much. I don't know if you have any question about it.
Any question? Any question? Hola, hola. No questions?
From what I understand is that basically nobody knows who invented Bitcoin, right? So how do you do your due diligence when, like, let's just say I have a Bitcoin right now, right? Is it mandatory that I go through a platform like Binance? Can I just do a transaction directly, you and me?
Yeah, I can. So the due diligence is to you have to get the information from the client, right? So you ask the client, do you have any Bitcoin or on the other digital assets? And if the client should be honest in 99% of the cases, right? So he will suggest, and he will tell you, you can ask for more information to know which wallet he have it. So you can verify the wallet that he has the Bitcoin in. Is it a licensed wallet? Well, you know that the risk can be less. But if it's some kind of, I don't know, made-up wallet, something like you never heard of before, then you can know that the risk is higher. So you can keep checking and intensifying your due diligence control, because also the due diligence has to have based on the risk, right? So we're not going to ask all the information that we want from a client that only has, I don't know, one Satoshi on Binance Wallet. So the risk is very low, right? But if the risk is higher, we can intensify our due diligence control by asking them to provide more information, and then we can try to verify from external sources the information that the client provided.
Okay, my other questions. Since you're saying as embrace Bitcoin, in terms of penalties, are there only financial, or is there like restrictive, like prison, in your laws?
Well, the Bitcoin is legal tender. So if I have, I don't know, one Bitcoin is the same. I have $60,000. That's the value of the Bitcoin right now. But if I do illicit activities with Bitcoin, it's the same as I do illicit activities with the dollar. So it's the same. There's no restriction. Anybody here can own Bitcoin. There's nothing. Actually, it's the opposite. The government incentivizes the people to own Bitcoin because they want to have it to be included in the financial system.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, tell me, Jake.
Thank you. So buying into Bitcoin is, so the banks don't block Bitcoin transactions, because in the Bahamas they do.
Good question. Banks don't interact with Bitcoin because they don't want to interact with Bitcoin yet. So if we want to interact with Bitcoin, we have to do it through licensed wallets. And there isn't any bank here yet to open you an account in Bitcoin. It doesn't happen. So if you want to have Bitcoin here in Salvador, you have to do it through a licensed wallet. But the banks, the traditional financial system, is not interacting yet with Bitcoin. You can only pay services with Bitcoin because they have to accept it by law, or they can deny that. But they can deny to open any product with Bitcoin. So right now, banks only accept payments of services in Bitcoin, but that's it.
So to open up a wallet, I asked him for a friend, to get a Bitcoin wallet, how do you do that transaction? Because they even block like credit card transactions when you're trying to process Bitcoin?
Well, you can open as a well, you can even open as a company, you can open an account on a wallet. For example, the wallet I've interacted more with is Binance because it's the biggest one of the biggest one is licensed here in El Salvador. So we know that it should have higher standards of AML controls. And it was already sanctioned by
Thank you again for
USA
coming,
some years
and
ago,
welcome to
so
GC Global
they,
Summit.
The impact has begun.
More efforts
The first day of the summit, 2024 Impact, started strong, bringing together experts in law.
If you follow all the KYC control, and here in El Salvador, you can make payments only with the QR code, and that's you can do transfer with the QR code or only with the address. So, and there shouldn't be a problem. So wallets shouldn't deny you the service unless there's something wrong with you, or you didn't bring all the information that the KYC form asks you. But if you bring all the information and all the backup is okay, there shouldn't be reasons to deny you the service to use the Bitcoin or even other cryptocurrencies.
So do you provide that service? So can I wire your company money to open a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet for my company?
What we do is that we can create the company here and give you the advice to create a wallet user with your company, but we don't do it ourselves because it's very personal. The wallet access is only for the owner, so we bring you all the advice and we follow all the procedure to help you out to open the wallet with your company information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm serious about that.
Any other question?
Thank you. The Salvador government teach to people how they can investment in crypto monedas. I say that because the crypto coins are very, very volatile. Yeah.
Complex. Yeah. Yeah, the government is teaching the people more with Bitcoin only because it's the most famous and all the politics are focusing on Bitcoin because if we tell people, you can invest in, I don't know, thousands of cryptocurrencies, people will get confused. And we have also a lot of percentage of people who is not even with high school degree. So the government tries to make an effort to make it simple for people, but incentive them to make to have some savings on Bitcoin and to teach them that it's okay to have Bitcoin and they can make payments in Bitcoin. Also that it's volatile, so that's something that is said to the people so they know that they can not have the 100% of their money there, but they tell them that they can have some Bitcoin, that it can go down, go up, so yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here in El Salvador is Chivo wallet, CHIVO. It's the government wallet here. It's only with dollar and Bitcoin. It doesn't have any other cryptocurrency there. It's only Bitcoin and dollar. Yeah.
So, considering that the Chivo wallet is being funded by the government and not everybody is using it, how would you address that? Other people that are not agreeing with it to use those funds instead of using it for other public funds like school, better education, better health system.
Yeah, it's like the opposition posture because the president involved a lot of Bitcoin as well with government funds. but their posture is that it is to try to include the people in the financial system. As said before, there are a lot of people here that are not included in the traditional financial system. They don't have bank accounts, they don't have credit records, they don't have any financial products. So the effort of the government is to include them through the Bitcoin.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Majano, for your valuable insights. We truly appreciate your contribution to this event.
And now, it's time for a well-deserved break. We invite you to enjoy a coffee break over there for 15 minutes. Take this opportunity to relax and recharge energy for the upcoming sessions. Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for coming and welcome to GC Global Summit.
The impact has begun. The first day of the summit, 2024 Impact started strong, bringing together experts in law and finance from around the world. We heard Alvaro Acevedo shared his expertise in tax law, exploring innovative strategies to tackle the current challenges in the sector. Also, Mario Robleto highlighted his vision in corporate and financial law, offering keys to business success in an uncertain global environment. Finally, Landslaw Global took a special moment to remember Mr. Navarrete, who was a fundamental part of their team and whose legacy continues to inspire everyone at the firm. A day filled with knowledge, reflection, and tribute, marking a promising start to the Summit 2024. And this is just the beginning. The impact continues. We look forward to seeing you.